The pandemic has created a domino effect of problems here in our community. People have lost their jobs, making it harder to pay their bills, which then creates more stress at home. That has led to an increase in the number of children who have been abused in our area. The staff at the Pediatric Trauma Center at Wilson Children's Hospital has seen a significant increase in child abuse cases. 144 children admitted last year compared to 118 the year before. Dr. Jennifer Andrews is a member of the University of Florida's Child Protection Team, which investigates child abuse in our area, and joins us live via Zoom. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So is there a certain age that you see most often of children who are abused?
So in our clinic, we typically see kids that are younger. So infants, kids normally up to 5 years old. And that's just because they are what we consider a more vulnerable or higher risk.
And what makes them more vulnerable or higher risk?
So some of the factors would be children who are nonverbal, who can't disclose abuse or neglect that's happening to them, as well as children who just aren't as visible in the community. So kids who aren't in school yet, who aren't participating in daycare.
So that abuse is not spotted by someone maybe outside of the home. Are there any particular triggers that parents or caregivers can be aware of?
So we often don't know what causes abuse, but triggers that we do think about are anything that increases stress. So financial strain, we saw it with hurricanes, anything that increases stress in the family, even something simple like potty training can be a trigger for abuse.
So it may seem sophomoric, but what is considered abuse? Because, people have varying, opinions about spanking. Spanking is legal. It's not illegal, but can it cross the line?
It certainly can. So abuse is defined as any willful act, threatened act, or failure to act on the part of a caregiver that causes harm or threatened harm to a child. So that can be what we classically think of physical harm, but also psychological harm. And so whether or not spanking rises to the level to be severe enough to cause abuse, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends against spanking or any other form of physical discipline.
Would you explain the warning signs for those of us who live in the community and may see something but not be sure if that is abuse?
Sure. So some of the things that we classically think of are children who are obviously underweight, really unkempt, kids that you know well that have a sudden behavioral change, and then physical injuries. So bruises on children who aren't independently mobile yet, bruises that aren't in typical accidental places like the upper thighs, the cheeks, the buttocks, the belly, bruises on both sides of the body that are symmetrical, or even what we call pattern injuries. So things that look like the object, like a cord or a handprint.
So what is your message to anyone who sees abuse but is hesitant to report it out of concern, one, of just interfering, being accused of being a nosy neighbor as an example, or somehow the person that they're reporting finds out that it's them and they're concerned about some kind of retribution?
So for people in the community, abuse reports are actually anonymous. So if you call the DCF hotline, you don't even have to give your name. You can remain anonymous. What you report stays confidential. And I always like to remind people that a report to DCF doesn't have to be punitive. It can actually be the gateway to resources that can help a family stay together safely.
And for the benefit of our viewer, do you have the DCF hotline?
I do. It is really simple. It's 1-800-96-ABUSE. Or you can make a report online. It's myflfamilies.com.
And finally, having been the police reporter for many years and called out to these scenes in which a child has been severely injured or even died as a result of abuse, it is heartbreaking. The things that people do to children and they don't realize their strength. So for those who are new parents and they have a colicky baby, what is your message to them about taking a deep breath and not doing something that they'll regret for the rest of their lives?
Yeah, I would just encourage them that it is always okay to take a break. You can put your crying baby somewhere safe in their crib and you can walk away. Crying isn't going to hurt them, but physically, shaking them, hitting them is going to hurt them and potentially cause irreparable damage.
Dr. Jennifer Andrews, UF Health Child Protection Team, thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.